What's going on, guys? This is Resurrected Mods. Today I'm going to be going over the Maneater Unkillable team. Originally I was planning on doing all of the Unkillable teams, and I did a kind of like a practice run, I should say, um, and it was going to be like an hour and a half long, and I am not fixing to edit that long of a video. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this out into separate videos. And this one's going to be strictly Maneater. So if you're wondering about Tower or Santa or anybody else, that will be another video at another time. But yeah, let's jump into it. Alright guys, so we come over here to the Deadwood Jedi website. This is where I'm going to be showcasing all these teams. Shout out to Deadwood for having a really awesome site that we can look at, go over the teams. He also has videos linked for most of these teams, not all of them, but most of them. But yeah, so thank you, Deadwood. So here's your home page, right? So then we're going to go into, you just click on Speed Tunes List and it'll pull up this page. So then what we're going to do is we're going to filter, and we're going to go to Maneater, and then we're going to hit filter, and there we go. This is all of the Maneater teams. So I'm going to go through one by one, and we'll just kind of go through and see what we need to do for these, which ones I would recommend, and so on and so forth. So we'll start with this first one. Budget Maneater Unkillable Ninja. This is a good team. I don't necessarily recommend it because if we click on it and we go in right here, let's see, where is it? Okay. So right here, we would have to swap out a DPS unit for Force because Ninja will not work. On top of that, this only works on Ultra Nightmare and Brutal, and then you have to change the speed for Nightmare. So as opposed to this one, I would actually recommend, let me find it here. It should be Ultimate Budget Unkillable. Let's see here. Yeah, so I would recommend this one. It works for Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare without any gear swapping. And you have 3 DPS choices. I realize your stun target's not really going to be a DPS champion, because you are having to sacrifice him at 129 speed. If you have an extra Geomancer, that is a great person to slot in that spot if you have an extra person. If not, sometimes I've seen people run Void stun champions, so their DPS, they can swap out their DPS. Basically, you're always going to have to at least swap out one champion depending on affinity. And you always want your stun to go to your stun target. Just a couple of notes, you do have to do some HP and defense tuning. He's got all the notes right here. So you just kind of follow through that and it'll be a good guide. Another thing that you can do is on everybody but your stun target have the Life Drinker Mastery. So when they do damage, when they're low health, it'll push their health up and it'll kind of force the clan boss to stun your stun target. There's a bunch of different notes and stuff that you could follow to force the stun to go to this person. I'm not going to get into that on this video. There's several videos out there that are on stun targeting, but that's what I would go with as opposed to the budget Maneater, because not only are you going to have to switch your speeds for Nightmare, you're also going to have to switch your DPS for Ninja on Force, and possibly your stun target depending on how you build it. So there's a lot of moving variables on that. So I don't necessarily recommend it, but if that's what you got, that's what you got. Next one, Ninja Cat Eater. It's in the same boat as the one above. I don't always recommend it, only because if you hit force, you do have to switch out Ninja. You can't use Ninja on force. So if you just go to your regular Cat Eater, right here, you'll see this is a team that you're running. And it's not full auto from the start. You do have a slight setup. And right here, as you can see, there's a disclaimer on Nightmare. You have to do a slightly different setup so you can avoid the stun going on Maneater. And then you just follow that and you go through with that. This can work with counterattack, and it can work with ally attack. I guess on that note, let me come back to this one real quick. The budget Maneater and the ultimate budget Maneater cannot work with ally attack or counter attack. I think on the ultimate budget Maneater, it will work on Ultra Nightmare, but it won't work on Nightmare. So I don't necessarily recommend building a ally attack champion like Farrakhan the Fat, because you will have to swap him out on Nightmare. Let's go into the next one, War and Bat. This is a good team as well. It's basically the same thing as Cat Eater, except I think the speeds are slightly different. Let's see here. 255, 255, 218. 179, 179. Okay, they're actually both the same team.
Excuse me?
That's dumb.
Let me go back into War and Bat. This one works with any of the, Warcaster, Helicath, Tower, Sir Nicholas, and the other team will work with all that as well. So the same notes follow. I didn't realize they were both the same team. Man Seeks God, I don't recommend this team, as it is extremely hard to tune. I don't recommend it. Yeah, so recommended for expert players only. This is not an easy team to build, and it's not going to be very rewarding either. You can probably build an ultimate budget unkillable team to do as much damage as this one, and it's a lot easier to build rather than this one. So if you want to go for it, definitely follow all of these notes and be prepared to fail a lot of times while trying to build this team. Let's see, and when I'm rating these teams on how hard they are to build, I'm not rating them as somebody that builds unkillables all the time, such as myself. I'm rating it as far as, like, if I was somebody new coming into the game, and I tried to build these teams, that's how I'm kind of rating how hard they are to build. High Mythman is relatively easy. The speeds are extremely slow. You will have to change the speeds, such as it says right here. I don't know that I would recommend this team. Yeah, I just don't know that I would recommend that team. If that's the only option that you have, then I guess that's what you got. But there's surely better options than this. For example, Maneater and Demitha. That's the Myth Eater team, which I will find it right here. Let's see. There's gotta be somewhere over here. Myth Eater team. So this is gonna be a lot easier to build. And it's a lot more rewarding as far as the damage goes. Your speeds aren't that slow, so you don't have to sacrifice a bunch of champions running at really low speeds. Even at 179, you can still somewhat use it in the game as far as in-game builds. 160s, you're starting to get a little too slow. But 179, 224, you can definitely use those in Doom Tower and whatnot. It does have speeds with Ninja. One thing to note on this is on Nightmare, your 4-to-3 ratio champion will be vulnerable to the stun, so you have to build them in lifesteal, or give them regen or something other than something to boost up their HP so they don't take the stun. And I think it says that somewhere in here. But yeah, you do have to make sure that you avoid a stun on the 4-to-3 champion. So that would be something that I would replace for the high myth man. Myth eater, wow, it's right underneath it. I'm just now realizing that. Let's jump into hell bat eater. And again, I'm not gonna break down all these teams completely. It's just kind of a general overview. And then at the end of the video, I will rank them as far as damage and overall builds, such as far as like running insane speeds. Like this team, Archmage have to run 306, 287, 286. That's really insane speeds. I believe they're all 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, so most of them are 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 ratio. So you're running really high speeds. It's not going to be achievable for most people. And it's really, honestly, it's a good team because Archmage brings the crit rate and crit damage, and Seeker brings the increased attack. So it's a good team. I just don't know that it's rewarding as far as the speeds go. You can definitely get good damage without running those speeds. Let's see here. Deacon Eater, it's same thing as the Hellbat Eater, but it's a lot slower speeds. And it is a good team because Deacon runs decreased defense. And so your DPS, really all you got to worry about is bringing a weaken and poisons or something like that to add a little bit more damage. I don't know that you can run an ally attack on this team. The only reason I don't think so is because of Penkeeper's A1. But you can definitely check in the calculator to see if an ally attack champion would work. But yeah, this is a good solid team to build if you have the speed and you have the champion. I would recommend that. And let's see here. This is going to be a really long video, so I'm just going to start going through the teams that do really good damage. So Batman Salad Eater, this has like 100 million damage potential, and it's relatively easy to build. The man-eaters do have to run at really high speeds, but Masalet and Seeker are relatively low, and the DPS is low. And you can, you can't run Relentless, that's right. It's not like Bat Eater, you can't run Relentless, but on this team does quite a bit of damage. Only thing is, it's typically recommended that Masaled is built with no accuracy, so he doesn't take up poison space or anything like that. So you're sacrificing using him in another area. If you do build him with accuracy, you're gonna have 2 debuffs up that you don't want. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. Batless, that's an expert. Let's go. So This runs really high speed because you're not running Seeker. I definitely don't recommend building this. I would wait till you get a Seeker and just build the typical Bat Eater. Heaven and Hell. This is definitely a really hard team to build, and you're sacrificing Kaimar and Masa Led for this team, so it's not really recommended. At least I wouldn't recommend it. I would probably build a budget unkillable before I build this. It's going to be a lot easier on your gear, and it's not going to be more rewarding. This team does hit hard, but you're sacrificing two, and Bellanoy is pretty good now. So really, you're sacrificing 3 really strong champions on your account just for a clan boss team. I don't typically recommend that. Man Salad, that's a pretty good team. It's just kind of like Bat Eater, but you can't run Relentless because he has increased speed, so you can't do that. You probably can't run ally attack either because of Painkeeper, but you could definitely slot somebody in here like Dracomore for any other damage dealing champion, and you will really get good damage on this team. So I recommend that team. Let's see. Ultimate budget unkillable. I already went over that. Pain Eater. It's just a weird Warcaster Maneater slash team. You can actually build a team like this without Painkeeper, and you run 286, I believe, on Maneater, and then Warcaster is about the same, and then you can get rid of Painkeeper, and you can have 3 DPS champions. This is another great team. You can run this in 2 to 1 key Ultra Nightmare. It's relatively easy to build. I don't think it's full auto. Yeah, it's not full auto, but it is a really solid team to build, especially if you have these 2 champions. Let's see here. Painter, Torvald. I don't want to talk about Torvald or this. I actually want to talk about not fast double Maneater. Uncreable. So I still recommend the ultimate budget unkillable as opposed to this because you still have to change the speeds for your stun target. Oh no, you don't. 172. Okay, but you do have to change the speed for Krila on Nightmare. So you still do have to do some gear swapping. But this is a really solid team. It can 2 key. I've seen 1 key damage, but that's extremely hard, and you have to have really good gear. And this is harder to tune as opposed to the ultimate budget unkillable. But this is a solid team. I would still recommend the ultimate budget unkillable over that, but it's still a good team. The old budget Maneater, I wouldn't recommend that. Go for the ultimate budget unkillable where you just build Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. You don't have to do any gear swaps, and you can focus on building a better team. Man Tower Fast, I already went with that. Droku Unkillable. This is kind of an odd team. I believe it's a little difficult to tune. And yeah, so you have to get exactly this speed for Nightmare, and you have to swap out gear. So it doesn't work for Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. You do have to do a gear swap. And when I say it doesn't work, when I say that, I mean it doesn't work where you can just build a team and you can run it on Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, Brutal, whatever, and not have to do anything to the team that's different, right? So, like even the ultimate budget unkillable, it does work on Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare, but you do have to do a different setup, as you can see here. So it's not full auto from the start, but at least you don't have to gear swap. So let's see here. Well, Jokel, man tower is slow. It's better just to do the man tower fast. Slow tune, man tower unkillable. That's basically the same thing as that. Bat Eater is one of the most famous 1P Ultra Nightmare comps. This I definitely recommend. The speeds are relatively low. You can put Relentless on your DPS. You can run anybody for your DPS. It's full auto from the start. There's no setup. It works on Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal. I believe. Yes, it works on Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal. And it's just a great team to run. You don't have to worry about stun targeting, anything like that. You just build the team and run it on auto, and you don't have to worry about it. 1P Ultra Nightmare is a little bit difficult to get. You can't just obtain the speeds and get 1P. You do have to build your champions and relatively good damage. Typically, if you're running somebody like Bellinor or another DPS champion that doesn't do many poison, I would recommend building your slower Maneater or Seeker and Painkeeper in a toxic set to allow for more damage. It's realistically a 2-key team, 1 key if you have really good gear, but it's still a solid team. You can build it, run it on auto, and not have to worry about it. Easy Double Maneater is another team that I really like. It does require a setup that's different for all Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal. But after that setup, it's full auto, and you can run 3 DPS options. You can run Fatty, Kreela, and then a really hard-hitting champion. You can run 3 poisoners, although I don't recommend that. But you have 3 DPS options, and it really allows for good damage. Realistically, you're looking at 2-key Ultra Nightmare, just like it says. But I have seen people get 1-key damage with this team. Again, it's not full auto, but it's really easy to build. The speeds are really easy for beginners who don't have crazy speeds. And you can slot in 3 DPS champions. So overall, it's a great team to build. And let's see. Budget Maneater Unkillable, extra turn, I don't recommend that. And then Budget Maneater Unkillable, again, I would just recommend the Ultimate Budget Unkillable. So the most popular teams that I recommend are going to be Myth Eater, Cat Eater, which is the same as Warrior and Bat. I'm just now realizing that. It's the same as Warrior and Bat, and I recommend both of those. I recommend, where is it at? Deacon Eater. I don't typically recommend Batman Salad Eater unless you're just really trying to go for 1-key damage. I typically like to say, just don't worry about Masalad, just try to go for your Bat Eater. I always recommend Bat Eater. It's a solid team to build. It's full auto. I always recommend the Ultimate Budget Unkillable. And let's see. Occasionally I will recommend the Man Tower Fast. But Cat Eater is definitely better in that respect. I think that's about it. I don't ever recommend all these other ones. Oh, and I recommend the easy Double Maneater team. If I would, so here's how I typically recommend the team. If you have Maneater and Tower or anybody like that, I would recommend like Cat Eater or the Fast Tower team. If you have Maneater and Demetha, that's an automatic Myth Eater. It's just, like I said, it's really easy to build. Nightmare, you just need to put your 4-3 champion in lifesteal or something to help get her HP up. If you have a Maneater and a Painkeeper, I always recommend the Ultimate Budget Unkillable. Works for Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. You can build the team, run it, and not have to worry about it. if you have two man-eaters, depending on how fast you can build your team and how good your gear is, if you're early to mid game, I typically recommend the easy double man-eater. It doesn't take away from all of your really strong gear, and you don't have to worry about hitting really high speeds. Um, and it's relatively easy to build. If you are mid to end game or end game to late game, I recommend Bat Eater. It's just really easy to build, especially if you have good gear. It's full auto, works on Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal. And it's relatively easy to get one key if you're in game. You can just slap on some toxic sets and have a good DPS unit and relentless, and you can typically one key. It's not going to be insane damage. It's not going to be like 100 million damage. But it definitely, one key is one key. That's all that matters. And I sometimes recommend Uncreatable. Again, that's something for somebody who had done unkillables before and they understand how to build budget unkillables and slotting in Krila. I would definitely not recommend that to an early game player, but that's all of the Maneater team. My next video will probably be Demeter, as a lot of people have her since she was a fusion champion. There's a lot of teams that circle around her. A lot of them are kind of hard to build, I'm not gonna lie. But they are very rewarding, and if you're trying to get an unkillable, she's a great champion to have. But yeah, that will be probably my next video, and then I will just work my way down to Tower and Sir Nicholas. Typically, there's no difference between Tower or Sir Nicholas. They do the same thing. And then my last will be Helicat. There's a couple of teams that only revolve around him, so I'll probably do him last. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you pick your team. Like I said, I didn't go into depths on all these teams and show you how to build them. But if you join our Discord, myself and a bunch of other helpful people will help you build your team. We can help you pick the right team, as I hope this video kind of helped you guys do anyways, but maybe you have a couple more questions that I didn't answer in the video. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one.